Good morning, everybody. Trevor Brown here with Life-Based Solutions and Carney CrossFit. Back with the Fitness Friday. We're going to keep things short, simple, talk about why you can't outwork a bad diet. And I'm actually going to help all of you out there do the very first workout for the 2024 CrossFit Games Open. So I know that sounds crazy, like, oh, I can't do the CrossFit thing. I can't do the Open. But yeah, we're going to, and it's going to be fun. So for any fitness level, any age, it'll be a good morning. So for those of you who don't know me, I am a CrossFit gym owner. I have been for just over 12 years now. I'm 39 years old, been very passionate and into fitness my whole life. But as a part of our gym, we coach nutrition, and we have for a long time. But about 5 years ago, we became involved with an incredible nutrition platform, a software company called Life-Based Solutions. And now we are part owners of that company. I'm in charge of business development and sales for that company, where I help everybody do business owners scale and run nutrition programs. That's the long and the short of it. So we're pretty good. I've worked personally with 700 nutrition clients out of my gym over the course of the last 5 years, and hundreds of other people across the country as well. So we're excited to get after things this morning. If you guys want to reach out to me, do so at trevor@lifebasedsolutions.com, or you just check out our website at lifebasedsolutions.com, right? So let's talk about why you can't outwork a bad diet. And hopefully we can keep this fairly simple. So the CDC cites four things we've talked about before as risk factors for chronic disease. That's tobacco use, excessive alcohol use. We're going to put those two things aside because I think they kind of make sense why those would be risk factors for chronic disease. But the other two are a lack of physical activity and poor nutrition. So, I get asked all the time, Trev, what's more important? Would working out or nutrition be more important? The gym owner side of me is always like, oh, well, hey, the workout's more important. And it's really not the case. If I had to pick one or the other, it would probably be nutrition for sure, right? If we can really eat healthy, eat nothing processed at all, only eat whole foods, I think you're going to set yourself up for a lifetime of success versus just trying to work out all the time. And here's why. There's certain parts of the world where certain cancers and different diseases don't even exist because of the absence of certain foods and processed foods for that matter. So just using that as one kind of guideline, I definitely pick nutrition over exercise if I had to. So it's that important. But here's why when you're younger, you can get away to some extent without working a bad diet, right? You can kind of eat whatever you want and you get away with it in a nutshell. Number one, genetics play a role, right? So if you have a family that is a long history of athletes, very athletic, very lean people that work out all the time, going back generations and generations, you're kind of set up for success. If you have grandpa, grandma, great grandma, great grandpa, so on and so forth, who have a history of diabetes and being overweight and things along those lines, and being generally inactive in your bloodline, then you're probably going to be a little bit disposed to some of those same things, right? That's kind of evolution. That's genetics. That's how that stuff works. So certain people to start are probably better equipped just naturally to kind of eat what they want and get away with it. But when we're young, right, our metabolisms, they're functioning, they're up, we're at our healthiest, when we're in that 18 to 20, 25-year-old range, and our hormones are high, man, we can really handle maybe eating a pizza and getting away with it more so than we can when we're 50 and 60. So as we age, our body is just kind of the aging process, right? They tend to deteriorate. We have cell degradation as we get older. Our hormone levels drop as we get older, so testosterone and things along those lines as we age. And when we're 18, 20 years old, we haven't really had that much time to wreck our bodies, right? When you're 18 years old, if you start to eat pizza every day and you don't work out and you drink a lot of soda pop, we find ourselves at the age of 40 now, 20 years later, right? We've kind of set ourselves up for failure by that point. But that's 20 years of doing things the wrong way. When we're 18, 20 years old, we're pretty active, right? We're kids, we're moving, we're doing things for the most part. And we haven't really had a chance to almost wreck our metabolisms to that point in our lives yet. So when you're young, we certainly can because our bodies are just better equipped to handle it, right? But I want you to think of it this way. When it comes to carbohydrates, especially, an athlete on the sidelines of a game, right? Football, basketball, very high intensity where you go hard for 5 minutes, you rest. They're going to drink things like Gatorade or sugar water, which we've talked about before. And no normal person want to do that throughout the day because it's honestly just sugar water with some electrolytes added in. But in that moment, that athlete is literally going to use that for fuel. So if you are active, right, you're drinking sugar water, eating foods to fuel your body because you are burning so many calories. We work with a lot of kids that are young athletes who just need to eat. Now, we don't want them going to McDonald's every day. We don't want them eating a bunch of candy, but to some extent, it's like, hey, you are so active that you just need to get food in your body all the time, right? So look at it that way. You can, to some extent, outwork a bad diet when you are extremely active, right? So when we eat carbohydrates, they get turned to blood sugar. The simpler in nature, the quicker the digest, right? Like soda pop, candy, things along those lines, like Gatorade. And our body can utilize them for fuel right away. Well, if we don't burn them off, then they get stored as glycogen. If our glycogen stores are full, they get stored as fat. So here's what happens. If you're moving, if you're exercising, if you're going at things for 2 or 3 hours a day, you can kind of sort of eat more food and probably lesser quality foods than the average person. But if we're not as active, if we are just moving for 30 minutes a day and walking or not exercising at all, you really can't get away with eating that sort of food because you're not burning it off, right? So keep that in mind. And then as we age, of course, those hormones and things start to kind of go down in our bodies age, part of the aging process. And then we're even less equipped to burn fuel, right? And then if we've eaten poorly for 10, 15, 20 years, we're even less equipped to burn those poor quality food choices as we age. So to some extent, when you're really active, I suppose you can outwork a bad diet, but for the most part, you really can't. So if I had to pick one or the other, it would definitely be nutrition over exercise. Okay. So I hope that makes sense as to why you can't really outwork a bad diet. With that being said, if you combine the two, proper exercise and proper nutrition together, you really have the recipe for success. And those are those last two risk factors for chronic disease, right? If we're active in some capacity every day, we've talked about it before, high intensity exercise relative to your own fitness level, and we eat fairly good quality foods 90% of the time, allow yourself a cheat meal here and there, you're going to do pretty fine, right? So on that note, let's talk about the CrossFit Games Open. I'm going to wrap it up with this in the next 2.5 minutes. Our workout, and if you guys want to check this out, go to games.crossfit.com. What I love about it when you go to that website, you can click on workout, you can check out what 24.1, the first workout for 2024 is that they make it accessible to everybody. People in wheelchairs, people who are 7 years old, people that are inactive, they're doing something the first time, or people that are crazy CrossFit Games level athletes or professional athletes. Everybody can do a version of this. And so here's what this workout is. It's really simple. I'm going to show this to you guys. I'm going to encourage you to just try it at home in some capacity. So it starts with snatches, and these are meant to be done with a dumbbell. So I'm going to pretend like this water bottle is my dumbbell. So it starts with the dumbbell on the ground. So I touch the dumbbell on the ground and I explode overhead in one fluid motion, right? It's a dumbbell snatch. You can even go to YouTube or right at that Games website and look it up. So you do 21 dumbbell snatches on one arm, then you do 21 on the other arm, and you switch, okay, with doing 21 burpees in between. So I know what you're going to say. Oh man, Trevor, you're telling me I got to do 21 snatches on my right arm, then I got to do 21 burpees, and then I do 21 snatches on my left arm, and I do 21 burpees. That's what I'm telling you. And then the workout progresses where you do 15 snatches on one arm, 15 burpees, 15 snatches on the other arm, 15 burpees, 9 snatches, 9 burpees, 9 snatches, 9 burpees. So you end up doing 90 repetitions of both the snatches and the burpees in total, right? So that gives you an idea of what that workout flows like, but you can scale this back. So guys, the RX weight, prescribed weight would be 50-pound dumbbell, ladies a 35-pound dumbbell. And then we just scale back for different age groups and things, right? But if you don't have that, you can use, I believe they even use the example of a can of canned food at home and let that be your snatch weight. We're just trying to move an object in one fluid motion from ground to overhead. And I love that because it's something that we do in everyday life, right? You can imagine if you do construction, you're lifting things overhead, or even if you're just moving things around your house, you pick up that box or put it in the top of your closet. You've got to be able to do that, right? Oh, yes, I love it. What can I do instead of burpees? I'm getting there for you. So a burpee is kind of flopping to the floor, touching your chest and thighs on the ground. So a couple ways to scale this. You can very simply go down to a plank position with your hands and feet on the floor, and then walk up out of that plank position, right? So you actually have to touch your chest and your thighs. We call those up down. So that's the first scaling option. Or let's just do push-ups, right? Push-ups on the knees. If push-ups on the knees are a little bit challenging, find yourself like a desk or a tabletop like this and press and do push-ups that way. So we've got lots of options that we can replace. You can even use a wall to do those push-ups on that we can replace. So if you're at that ultimate level of fitness, do the snatches with a 35 or 50-pound dumbbell. If you're brand new to fitness, do push-ups on the wall and use yourself maybe just a 5-pound weight, or literally grab that water bottle or a can of food and just move it in one fluid motion from ground to overhead, right? So check out games.crossfit.com, because I think it'd be fun for everybody to give that a shot. By the way, for those 90 snatches and 90 burpees, the fastest times in the world, actually kind of being watched and judging it the right way, was under 6 minutes. That's fast. I will not do it that fast, but that's fast. So guys, I hope that makes sense, bringing it all together. You can't outwork a bad diet. Can a little bit when you're younger and the more active you are, right? But that's why nutrition would be more important than fitness from that standpoint. And check out games.crossfit.com for that workout. We'll see you guys next week.